Hey everyone, think you know everything about water solutions? Well, stick around because we're going deep on Alpine Pump Inc.
Alpine pumping.
Yep, they're a family-owned business, been around for over 40 years. They're based in Monroe, Oregon.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What makes them so special? We're not just talking about fixing leaky faucets here, are we?
Oh, definitely not. We dug into a recent podcast interview they did, and let me tell you, these guys are the real deal. It's not just about pumps and pipes.
Sounds like there's more to it than meets the eye, so what's the scoop?
Well, for starters, they're all about, well, pump systems and water filtration. That's their bread and butter.
Essential stuff, especially if you're not on a city water system. But what's the story? Where did it all begin?
Alpine Pump Inc. was founded back in '82 by a guy named Gary Watts.
82, that's going back a bit.
Yeah, he had this vision, to provide reliable water solutions for his community.
I see, the classic entrepreneurial spirit. Started small, built something from the ground up.
Exactly. But here's where it gets interesting. His son, Sean, took over the business in 2016.
Keeping it in the family, huh? That's not something you see every day.
It really speaks to their commitment, not just to the business, but to their community.
It's about legacy, about those long-term relationships you build over time.
Okay, so we've got the family history, the dedication, but what exactly does Alpine Pump Inc. do? I mean, what services do they offer?
Oh, they do it all. Sales, repairs, you name it. They handle all kinds of water treatment equipment too. And get this, they even do well testing.
No testing? What's that all about?
It's super important, especially for real estate transactions.
Real estate, really?
Absolutely. Imagine buying a house with a well and you have no idea what's in that water.
Yeah, that can be a nasty surprise.
Exactly. Well, testing can reveal all sorts of things. Bacteria, heavy metals, pesticides, even naturally occurring minerals that can mess with your taste, your plumbing, the whole 9 yards.
So it's not just about the water being safe to drink.
Right. It could end up costing you a fortune if there's something seriously wrong.
Wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. So Alpine Pump is looking out for people on that front too.
That's right. They're providing peace of mind
All right.
and protecting people's investments.
Speaking of things that can go wrong, what are some of the common issues homeowners run into with their well water?
Oh, let me tell you. Low water pressure, that's a big one. You ever try to take a shower with barely a trickle?
Ugh, I can only imagine.
It's the worst. And then there's a whole contamination issue.
Yeah, that sounds scary. What kind of contamination are we talking about?
It could be anything. From harmless minerals that just make your water taste funny, to serious stuff like bacteria, or chemicals, or even agricultural runoff. It's a whole other can of worms.
So many things you wouldn't even think about. It's like a hidden world down there.
It really is. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Until something goes wrong.
And then it's a major headache. Speaking of, Sean really emphasized that 24/7 availability.
Oh yeah, he said, water issues don't adhere to a 9 to 5 schedule.
I thought that was a great quote. Really shows they understand the urgency.
Absolutely. For people with well water, it's not just an inconvenience, it's a disruption to their whole life.
No kidding. Can't cook, can't clean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So beyond just fixing the immediate problem, how do they handle those contamination issues? That seems like it could get pretty complex.
Well, that's where their water treatment expertise comes in. They offer all sorts of solutions depending on the specific contaminant.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach?
Nope, definitely not. Let's say you've got high iron levels, they might recommend an iron filter.
Okay, makes sense.
Or if bacteria is a concern, they might install a UV disinfection system.
So they tailor the solution to the problem.
Precisely. It all comes down to those well test results we were talking about and what the homeowner needs.
This is making me think about those emerging contaminants Sean mentioned. What did he mean by that exactly?
Good question. It's something we're learning more and more about all the time. One of the big ones is PFAS.
PFAS, okay. What's that?
They're sometimes called forever chemicals.
Forever chemicals?
Yeah, because they don't break down in the environment. They're used in all sorts of stuff like non-stick cookware, firefighting foam.
Wow, I didn't realize.
And they've been linked to all kinds of health problems.
This is serious stuff.
It is. And the thing is, those traditional water treatment methods, they don't always work on these things.
Oh no.
That's why Alpine Pump Inc. is looking at those advanced filtration technologies. Things like reverse osmosis.
Reverse osmosis.
It can filter out even those super tiny contaminants.
So they're staying ahead of the curve, investing in the future, so to speak. But PFAS isn't the only emerging contaminant out there, right?
Right. There's also microplastics.
Microplastics, like in the ocean.
They're pretty much everywhere these days. We're finding them in water sources too.
Yuck. Where are they coming from?
all sorts of places. Clothing fibers, tire dust, plastic waste that breaks down.
So just everyday stuff.
Pretty much. And we're still trying to figure out what it means for our health.
That's disturbing. So we've got these manufactured chemicals like PFAS and then microplastics from everyday products. What about natural contaminants? Are they changing too?
Oh, yeah. Climate change is having a big impact there.
Climate change.
Makes sense.
As temperatures rise and weather patterns shift, it's affecting water availability. And what kinds of contaminants are showing up?
In what way?
Well, like droughts can make existing contaminants more concentrated, so they're more potent.
Oh, I see.
And then heavy rainfall can lead to more runoff, carrying pollutants into the water.
From where?
From agricultural fields, urban areas, all over the place.
All connected.
Exactly. It's this whole web of factors impacting our water.
And it sounds pretty overwhelming. But how is Alpine Pump Inc. dealing with all this? It seems like a huge problem.
Well, they're not just reacting to problems as they come up. They're trying to get ahead of it.
Oh, so?
They're educating their customers
Oh,
about these emerging threats, about water conservation.
that's good. Knowledge is power, as they say. Right. They're even looking into rainwater harvesting and gray water systems.
Interesting. So they're thinking outside the box?
Yep. Trying to reduce that reliance on traditional water sources.
That's impressive. But what about those advanced filtration technologies we were talking about? Are those something everyone needs to be thinking about?
Well, it really depends
On what?
on what kind of contaminants are in your water, your budget, how much risk you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I guess it's not a one-size-fits-all answer.
Exactly. For some people, a basic filter might be enough. But as these emerging contaminants become more common,
Yeah.
I think advanced filtration is going to be more and more important.
It's like we're at a crossroads when it comes to water.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in, to be honest. All these hidden threats, these contaminants we can't even see. Makes you wonder what you can actually do about it, you know?
It's easy to feel overwhelmed. But the good news is, even small changes can make a difference.
Okay, so what are some practical steps people can take? Regardless of where they live, whether they have well water or city water.
Well, first off, conservation is key. Always.
Conservation, right. What does that look like, practically speaking?
Simple things, really. Fixing leaks, taking shorter showers, not overwatering your lawn.
Being more mindful of our water use.
Exactly, not taking it for granted.
Makes sense. But what about those contaminants we were discussing? Is there anything people can do to, like, minimize their contribution to that problem?
Absolutely. Think about the products you use.
Products, okay.
Like, choose biodegradable soaps and detergents. Avoid those harsh chemicals that can end up in the water.
So read the labels carefully.
Yep. And dispose of medications properly. Don't just flush them down the toilet.
Good point. So it's about being conscious consumers. But beyond our individual actions, what about the bigger picture? Like policy and regulation?
Oh, that's crucial. We need to support organizations that are fighting for clean water, push for stricter regulations on industrial discharges, agricultural runoff, things like that.
So using our voices.
Yeah.
Getting involved in the political process.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of just talking about it.
Talking about it.
Yeah. With your friends, family. Share what you've learned. Encourage them to take action too.
Create a ripple effect.
That's the idea. And I think Alpine Pump Inc. is a perfect example of how local action can inspire bigger change.
How so?
Well, here's this family business in a small town in Oregon, and they're taking on these global water challenges.
They're not waiting for someone else to fix it.
Nope, they're doing what they can, and that's really inspiring.
It is. And what I find so interesting is their focus on those emerging contaminants, stuff most people haven't even heard of.
It shows they're thinking ahead, recognizing that the challenges of tomorrow need solutions today.
They're not just fixing pumps. They're investing in the future of water.
Exactly.
So if a small business in Oregon is already on top of these emerging threats, what does that tell us about the future of water? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
I think it highlights just how urgent the situation is. Water is facing so many challenges. Pollution, climate change, population growth. It's a lot.
It can feel overwhelming for sure.
It can, but it also gives me hope. It shows that there are solutions out there. People are innovating, they're stepping up to protect this precious resource.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Definitely not. It's about recognizing that we're all connected to water. And the choices we make today will affect generations to come.
It's a call to action.
It is a call to join the conversation, to learn, to share, to do what we can to ensure a future where clean, safe water is a reality for everyone.
Well said. So to our listeners, if you're ever in Monroe, Oregon, be sure to check out Alpine Pump Inc. Their website is www.alpinepumpinc.com, and their phone number is 541-424-2243.
And even if you're not in Oregon, take those small steps we talked about. Conserve water, choose eco-friendly products, stay informed, and use your voice to advocate for change.
It all makes a difference. And hey, maybe this will inspire you to start your own deep dive into the world of water. It's a fascinating journey, and we're all in this together. Thanks for listening.